to replicate ourselves. You know, we're always interested about what the next moment might be in terms of writing and production and the final event. So I think there was hopefully some built-in understanding when we announced right from the get-go that that's what we were doing.
Right.
You can't do a Painkiller version of Nostradamus. Well, you could. I mean, the title track is faster than Painkiller, but you can't bang it over the head, you know, for an hour and 40 minutes. You've got to really treat it with some respect to a certain extent. And this guy was a remarkable man. And, you know, to interpret anybody's life, you have your ups and downs, you have your good days, your bad days. So that's going to emotionally transpire into the musical event. If you're having a poignant moment, it's going to be a bit poignant musically. If you're going to get banished in exile, it's going to have a sense of, you know, a wilderness and a landscape. So a lot of it is common sense to a certain degree. Having said that, it was a different record. It was a concept record. We'd never done anything like that before, and it's unlike anything that a studio album would sound like. And it was just a joy to make.
To me, as an outsider looking in on it, it would seem to me to be a very intimidating project. Obviously, something that a lot of work went into, or did it come together more easily than it might seem?
Well, it might sound a bit pretentious and pompous to say that it was a pretty easy thing to do, because to some degree it was, and I think that we were still, as writers, Glenn and KK and myself, were still carrying a lot of the great feelings from the Angel of Retribution reunion. So, you know, we had a little bit of a break. We knew what we had to do next. And when we started the writing sessions, there was just an abundance of flowing ideas day after day after day. And that's how it came to be an hour and 40 minutes. We never anticipated it was going to be that long, but we felt that as we were progressing, that we got more, you know, stuck into the whole thing that we were trying to do, that we didn't want to leave anything uncovered. We were determined to tell every aspect of the man's life, and he ended up being an hour and 40 minutes worth of it.
This goes all the way back to your childhood. Did you always find in yourself a natural ability to sing well and with such a wide range?
No, well, you know, the story about that is I didn't realise I had a voice until I was a kid at school. You know, when I was involved in the things that kids do at school in terms of little stage shows and this, that, and the other. I was probably about 8 or 9 or 10, I think, when I was involved with that stuff, and then with the school choirs and things. But I never really thought much about it. I mean, you don't at that point in your life. It wasn't until my teenage years that for all of us, that's when we really develop a love for music, because when you're a teenager, everything sucks apart from music, you know.
Did you have a high voice and then hit puberty and say, I'm not going to have that voice anymore?
If you listen to some of those notes on Run of the Mill, on Rock-a-Roller, it's through the roof, you know. I mean, I don't recall, I can't hit that note anymore. I think, you know, my balls would drop way lower than they are now, and they're pretty low at 57 as it is. But anyway, no, I mean, you know, all singers have different vocal abilities, because no two voices are identically the same, you know, and so I just have the set of pipes that I've got, and I've just been able to do what I can, and I think just the adventures that I have with my voice is just down again to my feeling of wanting to be interesting and not being repetitive, trying to do something different all the time. Hence singing in Italian.
Going back, I have one question that kind of dates back to that era as well. You grew up in Birmingham, right?
I did, yeah. Well, actually, Walsall is my hometown. Walsall is about 9 miles out of Birmingham. It all connects. Yeah, Birmingham City was that the home ground, so to speak.
Did you guys know the Sabbath guys?
Yeah, we did. Not as you know, not as kids or anything, but as both bands were starting. Yeah, we used to rehearse at the Sabbath rehearsals place in Birmingham all those years ago.
Wow. I had one other quickie for you before I let you go. This is more a personal thing.
Okay.
Always been a Fleetwood Mac fan.
Yeah.
Of real Fleetwood Mac, not the kind that America knows.
Yeah.
Whose idea was Manalishi?
I think it was probably the label.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we had some success with Diamonds and Rust, and our label at the time, Columbia, CBS Columbia, were looking for something of a follow-up, and so I'm pretty certain that It was either from them. You know, to be 100% accurate, I can't say for definite that that's where it was from. It may have been one of us. But anyway, wherever the idea came from, it transformed into the Priest version of Green Man Alicia, which is now a real highlight of the set when we play it. But I know what you say. You know, Peter Green, especially. You listen to his song and Man of the World. It's just remarkable. That's the Fleetwood Mac I love as well.
True.
All right, Rob, I have a couple of listener email questions. The 4th anniversary of Dimebag Darrell's murder is nearing, and I wondered how well did you know him, and did you have anything to do with your Halford guitarist, Patrick Lackman, hooking up with Damage Plan as a singer?
Well, 4 years have gone, and you know, time flies, and I think it's great that we all reflect and remember about the late, great Dimebag. To me, he was as revolutionary as somebody like Hendrix. You know, he stood up and played guitar and did something that nobody had ever done before, and he set the world alight with his style and his technique, and was a great influence and inspiration to a lot of other metal guitar players. I remember, just a quick story, my first introduction to Pantera. Priest was rehearsing for the Painkiller tour in Canada, and I was doing some phoners from a hotel room, and I had Much Music, the local TV music channel on, and I saw this guy talking away there, and he had a Judas Priest British Steel shirt on, and then they showed the Cowboys from Hell video, and I was like, oh my God, this is just blowing me away. And I called the studio and I asked if Dimebag was still there, and he was, and we hooked up, and that night we actually jammed with them. We did Metal Gods together at a little club in Toronto. And out of that friendship, Pantera opened up for Priest on the European tour of the Painkiller tour at that time in the early 90s. And then I knew they were going to be massive, and that's what they became, you know. So just running forward to the moment when I was having my first times away from Priest, Sony asked me to do a song for the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie, and I wrote Light Comes Out of Black, but I didn't have a band. So I called up Darrell in Dallas, and he said, yeah, brother, come on down. And I did the next day, and the band put the song together for us in about 24 hours. So that's how that song came to be. And, you know, we stayed in touch ever since. You know, we'd check each other out, and whenever Priest was through Dallas, Dimebag and the guys would always show up. So it was just one of those horrible days when you get a phone call about the terrible thing that happened to him. Thank God that the music at least will last forever. But as far as Pat, I don't really know how Pat got the gig with Dimebag. I know that Dime came and saw the Halford band, and because at the time Pat was playing lead for the Halford band, that both Pat and Dimebag struck up a friendship, and I think it went from there. So when I returned back to Priest, I guess Dimebag and Pat stayed in touch, and that's how he got the gig as a singer for the Damage Plan.
Interesting. And also, did you know the great late Chuck Schuldiner of Death, who covered Painkiller on 1998's Sound of Perseverance album? Yes,
and that's just wonderful. I mean, when anybody covers your material, it's a great tribute, and that's a real honour, you know, when another musician does something like that. So you're always grateful for that type of experience.
How do you rate Tim Ripper Owens' singing ability, and are you two at all acquainted? Friends?
Yes, he's one of my best mates. He's a best friend of mine, and I have nothing but great things to say about him. He's a fantastic metal singer. He's also a great guy. I'm really pleased that he's doing what he's doing with Yngwie right now. He's also got his own project, Beyond Fear, I think it's called. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And so there you go. He's a good buddy.
Excellent. Rob, we appreciate it so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Greg and Steve. I wish you all the best of the holiday season, and to all the metal listeners out there, thanks for looking after the metal world, and we'll see you in next year when the Priest roars back.
Yeah, we can't wait for that. And you know what? We'll take you up on that offer if you send some San Diego weather our way.
All right, I'll do my best.
All right, thanks, Rob.
Thanks,
all
fellas.
Right, thank you.
Cheers,
thank you.
Bye-bye now.